extra gear, the first 3 steps,
huge strides in the performance,
that I might not be the player I am today.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Behind the Gear. And today we're sitting down with Boone Jenner of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And Boone, if somebody were to ask you, where's your hometown? So where exactly is Boone Jenner born and raised?
Dorchester, Ontario.
All right.
Yeah. I'm not sure. A lot of people around here would know where it is, but
Yeah.
when I say it down in Columbus, not a lot of people know where it is.
Yeah. Dorchester's a cool little community, obviously. It's a little hockey community and baseball and kind of a little sporting community just outside of London. When you grew up, did you play a lot of other sports or did you focus mostly just on hockey?
You know what? When I was really young, probably till I was like 8 or 9, I played soccer in the summer. I never played baseball, but then I picked up lacrosse.
Oh, okay.
I was playing lacrosse in London in the off season, I guess. As soon as hockey finished, lacrosse would start like April and be done by like end of June. So,
Okay.
July and August, me and my brothers would just golf, but other than that,
Yeah.
it was just hockey, lacrosse.
And lacrosse is a wicked crossover sport, right? Like you
Yeah.
get contact in there. There's the one thing I love about it. They start lacrosse now at like 4 or 5 years old, and you see these young little kids learning how to like take contact and play with their sticks and be able, knock each other around a little bit. But I love it as far as getting into that contact piece of hockey because a lot of these young kids, if they've never played any contact sports or haven't had older brothers to beat the shit out of them, they don't know what it's like, right? To get that first hit or that first trip, even an atom or before contact's even there. And I find lacrosse is one of those sports that definitely exposes young kids to that little bit of contact and being aware of where you are, right?
No, it's very similar, I think. My brothers both played, so I just kind of followed them. And as soon as I started playing, I loved it, and I still love it. I like watching the sport. We played box lacrosse. There's the field lacrosse, but box is in the hockey rink, obviously. And I think it's great for your hand-eye. Obviously, at that age, I guess, staying in shape, you're running around the court, and then body contact. Yeah, it's pretty vicious out there.
Yeah, it gets rough, especially as you get older, right?
Yeah, there's some things you can't take the hockey, just the slashing and the whatnot now. But it's pretty violent sport, I guess. But it was fun.
Yeah, I know for sure. And box a little bit better because not quite as much running as field. Like field is insane, man. They play on basically soccer fields, right?
Yeah.
And it's
It's I don't know how they do that. I've never tried it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I stick to the hockey rink.
Yeah, and lacrosse has done a good job of having their season almost not interfere with hockey hardly at all, right? Because you're going April till, like you said, June, maybe July if you push a bit, and then hockey usually doesn't start up again until August, September, right? So
no, exactly. The schedule was perfect, and I just played here in London. I didn't play any competitive or anything like that. I always thought about it, but I just enjoyed hockey and didn't want to get too involved in lacrosse. It was just kind of a hobby in the summer for myself.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And when did you start playing hockey? I know you got 2 older brothers, so obviously you were exposed to it at a young age, I'm assuming. But when did Dad put you in the first pair of skates?
I want to say I was 4 or 5.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, my brothers are 4 and 3 years older than me, so obviously they were already playing, and I think I just wanted to do whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're already playing, so I started playing in Dorchester. I think I was 4.
Okay, cool. And then you played your minor hockey, obviously, in Dorchester, right? And then from Dorchester, when did you make that jump? I know that jump into AA, AAA is usually right around that Atom age group.
Yep.
So did you jump right away, or did you stay in Dorchester a little bit longer and then?
No, I made the jump major Atom.
Okay.
Yeah, so second year Atom.
Yeah.
I made the jump to Chiefs and stayed there all the way.
Yeah, you played all the way there to the minor midget year.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. And how was your experience in kind of AAA? Like, do you remember any kind of crazy stuff as far as parents? Nowadays, as you're older now, you kind of hear more about, oh man, the parents are crazy or that everyone's so intense. Yeah. Did you sense any of that when you were growing up and playing minor hockey in the AAA system?
Not really until I was older, probably.
Yeah.
I guess in the major Bantam and in the minor midget draft years, or not the major Bantam, but minor midget draft year, it's a little bit crazy, all the hype and everything, and even major Bantam because everyone's going into their, who's going to play where, like. Now there's scouts coming, agents, all this stuff. And that's when I kind of realized, like, it's kind of, like you said, more than just fun. The parents are more involved. They want a hand here and there. So obviously as a kid, it didn't bother me. I just kind of went out and played. And,
which is great.
Just enjoyed it.
Yeah. And what was your? I mean, I know your dad's an intense dude. He's a hockey guy, loves the game. He had 3 boys that played. What was he like as a dad? Was he pretty intense? Was he harder on you? Did he lay off you? Did he kind of like to give you a little bit of advice? You know, kind of what kind of role did he play?
Yeah, he played a big role. I think you know, he was hard on me. You know, growing up, but I think it was you know, all in the right you know, state or whatnot. It was always good to have him around. He told you the truth. You know, and kind of taught me a lot of things about the game and you know, different aspects of the game, not even just skill, but you know, heart and competitiveness and all that, and how much it actually matters. So I took a lot of that from him, and yeah, there's some rough days, some long car rides home, but you know, I can't thank him now enough.
No, I think I'm sure at the time, if you're an Adam or Pee Wee or Bantam, you're probably like, "Oh, Dad, seriously, leave me alone," right? But now, as an older guy, you look back on it, and now you see probably the value in that a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, almost scared to get in the car after the game. You know, it's you know, it's not going to be pretty, but yeah, looking back on it.
And were those more games that maybe you didn't play well, or you didn't even not even play well, but maybe didn't work hard, or maybe you didn't back check, or like little things like that, right?
It wasn't about, oh, you didn't score 2 goals or whatever. It was more like the work ethic and all that, like being lazy, blah blah blah. So that was the kind of stuff that he picked out the most, and it's kind of what I pride myself on now. So it's kind of funny.
No, for sure. And I mean, you've always been a guy who's put the work in, right? And I think at younger ages, you know, having a father that's, you know, because I think there's a fine line there where dads and moms can turn young boys and girls off the game by being too hard on them and having too high of expectations. But when you have a young player that's moving up through Adam and Pee Wee and Bantam and has some potential, I think sometimes as a parent, you've got to kind of lay the law down a little bit as far as if you really want to be a player, then you've got to do these certain things, you know? And I mean, your dad's dealt with a lot of high-end players. He's been around. He knows the game. So for him, I'm sure he saw a lot of things in you and your brothers that you guys had some potential, and you know, you don't want to see that just squander away by someone not working hard and not getting kind of put in his lane or, you know, getting set straight, right?
Yeah, no, I think there is a line, obviously, with, you know, being hard on someone or being a little crazy or unrealistic, you know? You know, you got to know the limits you can push and you can't push anymore, or you might, you know, get disinterested or whatnot. And I never felt that. So, you know, it was always good. Like I said, honest conversations. And, you know, that's, you know, just bettered my game, I thought. As the years went on, I include in more and more. As you grow up, you understand it more. Yeah,
no, for sure. And you had an opportunity to play for your dad a little bit too, right? Your dad took the major Bantams to minor midget, right?
Yeah, no, he coached, you know, the Pee Wee.
He did, okay.
I think I had him in Chiefs all years except for one.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can ask a couple of the other teammates from that team how it was. We had some epic bag skates, that's for sure. But, we had a good group.
But you guys had a real good age group. And you had a lot of young guys that got drafted and that went on to play some major junior, and which is awesome, right? Anybody from that minor midget team other than you that made the NHL? Is there anybody else off that team?
No, I think Derek Mathers, he got drafted.
Yeah, played a bunch of pro,
but that was it. Other guys were playing junior around here. A couple of guys in the OHL had a couple stints, and I still see quite a few of those guys around London. So
that's awesome.
Good.
I talk to a lot of parents, obviously, and even young kids, but man, when you go from minor hockey to the OHL or junior B or junior A, you've already separated yourself from a lot of other players already, and that's amazing. If you get a chance to play junior C or junior B or in the O, I mean, you just narrowed that gap where you're one of those guys that's playing at a real high level, which is awesome, right? Now, if you get a chance to play in the O, that's even a more elite level. But every step you push, you know, a lot of parents get upset, like, oh, my kid's never going to play past junior. Well, playing junior is pretty cool. You know, you can always come back and sit at the bar and tell stories with your buddy about your junior days and things like that. And I think every stage that you move up, whether it's OHL or pro or whatever it is, you kind of narrow that gap of guys that get that opportunity to do that, you know? And when you look back on your kind of that minor midget year, what was that like to navigate through as far as every game? Pretty much you got scouts in the stands, there's people watching you, parents are a little bit nutty, they're trying to talk to scouts, trying to talk to agents, trying to up their kids' stock, right? Now you were fortunate, you were kind of one of the main guys and one of the top 3 guys or 4 guys on that team, so there was obviously going to be some potential opportunity there in the OHL draft. But what was it like for you and your family going through it? Was it pretty low key? Dad just kind of like, don't worry about it, or was there some anxious moments?
Definitely some anxious moments. I mean, you're not gonna totally block it out. You try to the best you can. But that was obviously my first time going through a draft year or whatnot. Obviously, I did it a couple years later in the OHL for the NHL draft. Yeah. But as far as that went, it was like you just try to play as hard as you can, control what you can control, and the rest will fall into place, I think. That's what I've learned. As much as you're going to guess, what teams like you, what teams don't like you, you can never guess. And, it's just something that you take care of what you can control, and the year gets crazy with people worrying about points and how much ice time and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. But you know what? If you're putting your work in, things are going to happen for you. So I think that's just the way I kind of looked at it. There's obviously some games where you're looking up and, you're playing the Toronto Marlboros. Supposed to have 10 first-round picks, and you're like, obviously a lot of scouts here. So, you get nervous. You're still, 15 years old. So definitely some nervous moments, but you just kind of try to embrace it and really show who you are.
Yeah, and your family kind of went through it a couple of years prior with Leo, right? Your older brother that did get drafted as well, correct?
Yep.
And so you kind of went through that, I'm sure, as a family. I mean, you were probably a little bit younger, didn't really realize what he was going through, right? Like, suck it up, kid, you're gonna be fine. And then a couple of years later, you end up going through it. But were you and your brothers pretty tight growing up? Did you guys kind of bounce things like that around a little bit?
I mean, I was still pretty young because Leo moved away for Plymouth at 16. So, obviously I was pretty young, and I thought it was awesome, like going down to Plymouth, watching my brother play, against the London Knights and all this kind of stuff, and Sarnia Sting, and I thought it was awesome. So from that moment, probably as soon as I started watching him play in the OHL, that was when I really wanted to play in the OHL. Yeah. That was like, obviously I knew what it was and everything like that, but hockey was fun, and then it was kind of like, like Leo's there, I want to get there, you know? So that's when it really clicked for myself that it was where I wanted to go. So, and then those years fly by, and it's your draft year, and it's, Leo's going into his fourth year, so you can kind of bounce, questions off him, or like you're skating with him in the summer trying to, match your speed against his. Like, he plays in the OHL. Can I be there next year kind of thing? So I think it was always good to have him around for that kind of stuff and ask him questions about the league, especially when, I was going into my first year. So,
yeah. No, that's cool. And Leo's a big man. He's a big boy. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's great. And I remember back, and the one thing I always stuck out with me, and I remember, you kind of telling stories just about when you were young, and, Leo and Colby blasting slap shots in the barn, and you'd be in front of the net and your boxer's trying to tip them, and just being that younger brother that's always the one getting the short end of the stick type thing. But, and then even with you and Leo battling in the summers, I remember you guys doing one-on-ones down low and like basically being brothers, battling hard, like knocking helmets off and trying to.
A few penalties.
A couple. Yeah. But I mean, I think those are things too, like when you look at Boone Jenner, those are things that I think have helped mold you to who you are, as far as just getting in those battles when you're probably 6-7 years old, having no business fighting a 10-year-old, but having to get into it with your brothers, and setting that tone a little bit for how you play. I know one of the things a lot of guys talk about when you talk about Boone Jenner is he plays hard. Mm-hmm. He's a prick to play against. You know what I mean? And I think that's a huge compliment where guys are like, he goes hard, and if you're in his way, you're gonna get something, right? And I think a lot of that probably stems from guys, your brothers, and just kind of being around that, right? And
for sure, growing up with them. We beat each other up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I didn't do any beating up. I usually got beat up, but.
Do you get any good like sucker punches in there, like where maybe they're sitting down playing video games and you just walked up and cranked one of them?
Oh, jeez, I wouldn't do that. The only time I'd do that if my parents were around. I could get Leo with one, and by the time he realized it and got up, the parents were protecting me because I was the youngest. I was a baby, so whenever they were around, I got away with a lot more.
Right.
And if they weren't, then I was trying to hide from him pretty much because he had some built up. On him for sure. So, no, but whenever they were around, I'd try to throw my shots in then because I knew he couldn't give it back as much as he wanted to.
For sure.
So no, it definitely helped, and looking back and hearing stories of even our friends' parents when we were over at their house, and they're just like, what's going on with you three? Like, we're just, playing mini sticks and, friends are coming up like, I can't play with these guys anymore and stuff like that. It was just a lot of funny stories with us three. And, it was awesome to grow up the way we did. And, I think it was valuable for who I am today.
No, for sure, man. Yeah. Is there any really shitty story that stands out of where your brothers put you, like as far as just like put you in the worst situation, whether it's playing goalie with them, blasting pucks at you, or like something that just completely, if you had kids right now, you'd be like, there's no way I'm going to let my boys do that to my youngest boy.
Oh, geez.
There's probably a laundry list of them. Man.
Yeah, there's a few. The one that sticks out in my mind is not me, but my middle brother, Cole. Yeah. So Leo was a big guy, like you said, and we were had our helmets and gloves on in the front yard, and we were gonna fight each other.
Obviously, yeah, pretty smart.
So, but it was Leo's a big guy, so it was me and Cole and my friends, so us three versus Leo. So he's older, and so it's like, okay, us three versus you. Here we go, and we're like, okay, Cole, you go ahead first, and then we got your back. Like, so as soon as we seen Cole go in there, we're like, holy shit, no way. No, we can't get in there. So we left Cole in there, and he got beat up pretty good. And we're like, and he was pissed, and Leo still wanted a piece of us. And it was funny. That sticks out in my mind.
That's
it wasn't
funny.
Me.
Yeah,
but,
He bailed. He bailed on your brother.
We bailed on Cole, and he got beat up pretty good. But he hung in there. He always hung in there pretty good. So
that's funny, man.
He puts up a better fight than I would probably.
Buckets and gloves is one of those things
exactly
that we all grew up doing it. Like we did it too. And I remember having boxing gloves downstairs. These boxing, like now it's the biggest taboo. Like it's up there. Like, if you talk about buckets and gloves in the locker room right now, parents will lose it. They'll lose their mind, right?
Anymore,
No, and I mean I understand why, but man, how fun was it?
Yeah.
Just to tee off on each other. Like it was amazing. It was awesome.
When you're that old, you're not thinking too straight. So
no, especially with your brother. Like you just want to KO. Like you really, and now you can hit him in the face because he's got a helmet on. So it's like, it's game on.
No, that was fun.
So fast forward, to that draft. Obviously, the OHL draft comes, and you get an opportunity to go real high to a real good organization. What was that day like when you did get drafted? And how was the family with all that? And kind of was there a lot of hype around it for you?
Yeah, there was. It was.
And you went, was it 4th overall, right? To Oshawa.
Oshawa, yeah. So I guess the weeks closing in on the draft, it was, I think the first couple picks were kind of set in stone.
Yeah.
And then there's the 3rd overall pick was Sudbury, I think, and then Oshawa. And just through my agent, I knew Oshawa was quite interested, I guess. And I went up there. I saw the facilities and met the coaches and the owners and everything like that. And I fell in love with it as soon as I went there. So when that day came, I was, pretty sure, but obviously pretty nervous still. But I was pretty certain about going to Oshawa, and I was really hoping for it. So when Sudbury obviously took who they did, and then Oshawa was up, it was awesome. And I think we drove up that day. We drove up that day as soon as they got to announce it. And so us as a family went up there, and we got our jersey and all that. And the family got to see everything. It was a pretty special day. And, obviously Leo going through it. So then we had 2 brothers drafted in the OHL. So it was a fun day. And
it's awesome.
Oh,
that's cool, man. And I'm sure that day in Oshawa is probably a bit of a blur, but pretty cool to be the first, their first pick in the first round, and kind of a big deal. Obviously, a lot of media, I'm sure, and different things that now you're exposed to as a 15, 16-year-old that are going to kind of almost set the stage for you moving forward, right? And you see a lot of young guys. I mean, you played with a lot of them that were high picks in the O and never really panned out. And you see that, and there's a lot that goes into these young men like yourself that. Not just skill set, not just skating, not just strength, but also, personality, mentality. And, just by the sounds of your dad, obviously Matt and your brothers, and a lot of accountability there, right? Like you're going to be responsible for your own actions. You're going to be, there's a lot of things that go into making up a good character kid who's going to go first round. Cause there's a lot of pressure on a first rounder, right? When you go into camp and stuff like that, but having that, not just the skill set, obviously you've got that, you got drafted high, but then having that attitude and those characteristics to be able to play first of all and then be successul, right?
Yeah. No, I think it was something they mentioned to me when they drafted me was a big reason why they thought they would take me at 4th overall. So it was something I wanted to prove to them and the organization, I guess. So, as soon as I got up there, I didn't know too much about Oshawa other than John Tavares and Delzato and these guys. And but when I got up there, I didn't realize how rich the history was and the fan base and everything like that. So it was an amazing time playing there. For 4
it's a
years.
cool spot. Eh?
And just growing into a player that I did there, I think going in as a 16-year-old kid, I didn't know too much about expectations or anything. I was just trying to play and make the team and do all this stuff. And, I think it just kept getting better and better. And as things went on, my first year went on. And, obviously got opportunity my first year. We weren't very good. So, I just took off from there. And,
No, it's good. And it's tough, right? Sometimes you want to go to a good organization, try to win. But at the end of the day, what's your goal getting drafted at the OHL? Try to go to the NHL.
Yeah.
Right. So going to a team that's maybe a little bit weaker that has opportunity is awesome for some of these 16-year-olds like yourself. Get a ton of time. And then how different was it going from your first year, which I'm sure you're nervous, and that's a huge adjustment, just speed and strength. You're playing against bigger guys, stronger guys. But how different was it going from your first year to coming back for your second year? How much more confident were you? How much more, now you know the league a little bit. Now you're someone that guys know, so they're going to key in on you a little bit. You're going to probably play even a bigger role.
Right.
But how different was that mentality going from that first year junior to that second year?
Yeah, it's different. The first year, everything's new, It's a new place, new team, new teammates. Everything's new. The teams you're playing are new. It's everything's new, obviously, the whole season. So it kind of goes by really quick, and you're just trying to, fit in, play the best you can. And then the second year, everybody. You know what to expect. You know what the lines are going to be, kind of. You know who's coming back. Who you're playing against. You got Peterborough with all these guys. You know how your team kind of lines up. So the second year, we really took a good stride our second year, because I think we missed our playoffs the first year. And we're third last, I think. And,
okay.
The second year, we finished third or fourth in our conference, so we were a lot better team, and that was fun to be a part of, kind of the turnaround there. We didn't, do too much in the playoffs, but no, it was fun. I think you know what to expect, and you got younger guys coming in now, so you just want to be more of a leader. And I think I was wearing a letter there my second year, so that's when I realized I was, valued as a pretty big leader on the team at that point, and try to embrace that, and try to get that winning culture going there.
Yeah, and it's cool to be part of that turnaround too, right? You're one of the cogs as far as the young guys coming in, and then making that second year, and then obviously that third year even better.
Right.
And now that second year is another big year for you, because now you're all of a sudden right away going into your NHL draft. So going back to that pressure of that minor midget year, now you've got that that NHL pressure a little bit as far as scouts in the stands all the time watching and really, dissecting that second year, those, 17-year-olds that are looking to potentially go to the NHL draft. What was that year like for you as far as just keeping everything straight? Like, you got to play well, you got to, take care of all your stuff, your body and your fitness and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, in the back of your mind, just like every other kid, you're thinking, man, I want to play in the NHL. And it seems so close, but as you know, it's pretty far away. Right?
Oh yeah. It's, I guess it's the OHL draft times 10. It's it's all the scouts are there every game. We had a 6:00 Sunday night start in Oshawa. That was our home night, and that was like one of the best places for scouts to watch, I guess. So we always had a ton of scouts. I know it was pretty nerve-wracking, more so than the OHL draft that I can remember. I think I was still much of a kid then. So after being in the OHL for a couple of years, and you see guys on your team that are drafted, and you're asking them, and you're watching them, and it's, you start, realizing, hey, this, I could be drafted, you just want to keep working, and I think you see other guys around the league and see where all these rankings come out all year and everything, and you put yourself against other guys and stuff like that, and at the end of the day, you just, I think you just stick to your game, and like I said, to the OHL draft, kind of take care of what you can control, because the moment you start realizing or start worrying about other guys or what other guys are doing, how many points they're getting, and you're not getting them or whatnot, it's not going to help you. So I think, and that goes for every year almost, but especially in your draft year, you want to, rack up points, do all this, do all that. So, it's nerve-wracking, but I don't know, it flew by for me. It's
good.
it's really fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's pressure, but it's good pressure, and it's kind of what you want.
Yeah. No, for sure. Now, you're a competitive guy, so when you see these rankings coming out, and this could be the same thing in minor hockey. Now, minor hockey has all these rankings for teams, and sometimes they rank players. It's a little bit ridiculous, but at the same time, as a competitive guy, when you see some of these rankings come out and you see Johnny Smith's rated in the first round as top 100 skater, you're probably just like, I don't fucking kill that guy next time I play him. Like, you kind of get pissed. You're like, I'm better than that guy.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And a lot of times it comes into play. Maybe they play on a really good line. Maybe their team's sick.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot of points every night because their team's dominating and killing teams. And, and maybe you're playing a different role on your team. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I think for a lot of these young players, and as you move up to that NHL and OHL or NHL draft, it messes with your mind, right? Because you're seeing players get drafted that are terrible, that are ahead of you, and maybe not so much in the OHL draft, but in the NHL draft, right? Because when you go to that NHL draft now, you're kind of projected. I'm going to assume you're kind of told you're going to be kind of a first, second round guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you go there, kind of sit through that, because I remember you and I started working together kind of right around Bantam and midget, so I kind of got to know you pretty well, and I was keeping a real tight eye on that draft because you were one of the guys in that year that was going to go. Yeah, it's stiff, just yank, give it a good pull. You're strong. Oh, there you go. But yeah, so like I was really watching that draft, and I know. My heart kind of sank when the first round came and passed, and I knew like you're gonna be so hot, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Big smile when you left. That's okay, but I'm sure like that's gotta be tough, right? So what was that like going through that? Not sure. Some teams love you, some teams are showing some love to you. Probably told you, hey, if you're there late, we're gonna get you in late in the first, and then whatever things happen, it doesn't happen. So what's that like mentally to go through that, and kind of what kind of stuff was going through your head?
Yeah, that was a long night.
Yeah.
They did the first round on the Friday night, obviously, and they do the rest on Saturday morning. So I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting to go in the first round myself. Like you put expectations on yourself, whatnot. But I thought I was gonna go in the first round that night. And like you said, there's a few teams that I thought not for sure's, but pretty locked in that if I'm still there, I could be going there. So the way it pans out, you just. Like, it goes back to what I said, you can't guess on what anyone's thinking at any time because, to be quite honest, I picked up, or Columbus picked me up in the second round, and I think it was my worst combine interview of all time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, it doesn't matter, what you think or what teams you like you or what don't like you. I think I remember that meeting in Toronto at the combine with Columbus, and I walked out, I'm like, wow, like that was so bad. Were they trying
to twist you up though? Because I know some of the combine interviews are crazy, right?
No,
like
they weren't too bad.
Was it too bad? No.
They asked me a few questions and I had no idea.
Right.
About the organization, kind of who their coach was, and I remember I said, I don't know. And, because I knew at the time they had like the 7th overall pick.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, they're probably
right. Not even in the ballpark. Yeah.
Like I can't.
Yeah.
So it was like I didn't know too much about it, and they were kind of grilling me a bit. I'm like, wow, like these guys don't like me. And then push comes to shove, a couple weeks later I go to Columbus. So it's just funny how it works out. And I'm obviously really happy the way looking back. The way I felt that night, I wasn't. I was I didn't know what to think. I was just with all my family, and we all kind of we're ready for the night, and then it didn't happen, but. Looking back, it's for the best. It's I couldn't ask for a better way to do it. So, it was funny how it worked out. I
know it's easier said than done, but a lot of times, when you go through stuff like that, and you have expectations, and you're hoping that you've been told a little bit, and you're kind of hopeful that something like that's going to happen. I'm sure there's a lot of senses going through you, like disappointment. I let everyone down. All these people traveled here to see me go in the first round. I didn't go in the first round. And I'm sure there's a lot of that going through your head, right? And
Yeah, there's quite a bit of that, but it is with all your family, so they're giving you a lot of support.
For
so,
sure.
That's a good thing about it, and you feel like you've kind of let yourself down or let other people down at that given night, and I remember the second round goes really quick, right? It's just pick, and it was. Like,
and you were early in the second.
Yeah, it was like the 7th pick. It was like it just started, and it was like, these guys, and then Columbus, boom, and it was Then it was a whirlwind from there.
Yeah.
It was just meeting everyone from there. And then I think we went to development camp like 2 days later. So I totally forgot about it as soon as I got drafted. And my main focus was just on Columbus and how thrilled I was to be there. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even though I didn't go in the first, getting drafted in the second round was really good feeling,
man,
for
getting
sure.
drafted period is
Yeah,
unbelievable.
so-
Like really, you think about it. Like there's only 7 rounds.
Exactly.
I was talking about the other day with somebody. You've got the OHL draft, which is 300 players in Ontario in the States, right? Which is a lot. And then you got the same in the Cube, roughly, and the same in the Dub. So that's like almost 1,000 players getting drafted.
Yep.
Well, now you look 2 years later, that gets cut down to 7 rounds out of the world.
Right.
That's crazy, right? Like when you think about it, man,
yeah.
that's nuts, man. So you've got so many players playing in the O and the Q and the Dub and junior over in Europe, all over the place, and now you're the 37th pick out of that age group
Yep.
across the world, which to me, like in the top 7 or in 7 rounds, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, to go in the second. But what I was going to get at with that is a lot of times you players, we all did, I did it. We put this pressure on ourselves, and then we feel like we disappointed everybody.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, man, everyone's so proud. Even if you didn't get drafted, it doesn't matter. You're here. You're actually getting talked about maybe getting drafted. And even if you didn't, now it worked out for you that you did go high in the second round and obviously, went to a place. And no offense to Columbus, but being from Ontario or Toronto, you got Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, all these teams. I mean, like Columbus, like what?
Yeah.
They have a team still? We all know this now, but as a young kid, who'd you watch growing up? Probably watched Detroit, probably watched Toronto, all the teams up in this area, right? So a lot of times it's super ignorant on our part, but we're young, 15 years old, and then you get stuck with these questions at 17. You're like, you just got to give them bullshit answers. Like, I don't care who the coach is. I'm going to play hard for anybody. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I forgot about that. The second I went to Columbus, and like I said, it was 2 days later, and development camp was starting. So, and then on there till now, it's just my focus has been Columbus. So it's been great.
Oh, that's awesome. And yeah, and I mean, you've so you go to development camp for the first time. Obviously, there's a whole new world, right? Now you're introduced to the NHL number 1. Probably some free swag and some free stuff, which is kind of cool, right?
Sure. Yeah,
just filling pockets for mom and dad and brothers and everybody. Yeah. And then going through development camp, what was the feedback leaving development camp? So that was your first development camp. You're there. Going into it, what would you say your biggest knocks were going into the OHL draft and then through the OHL? If I was talking to somebody, Johnny, whoever, and he said, "Yeah, you know what, Boone Jenner really needs to work on these 2 or 3 things." What were they then?
Well, I'd probably be my skating.
Yeah,
that's always kind of been there, I guess, since the OHL draft and the NHL draft.
Yeah.
And, still today, I still try to work on it, obviously, but. That was probably the biggest knock. I don't think anything else really stands out that they said, but I remember that, and I remember being there, and I think I had a really good development camp my first year. So that kind of opened my eyes and made me even hungrier. Kind of going up against that competition, and there was guys there that had played in the NHL the year before or the AHL. So it was pretty eye opening, and you try to be a sponge, kind of soak it all in. Like I said about the rookie year, everything's new.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about the city or any of these guys, but you're watching them and trying to compete against them, and it's healthy competition. I mean, a lot of those guys that are on my team now, or I have played with in the past, and we all kind of came up together. So it was a fun first development camp for sure. It was hard.
They're baggers though, man. Like they're full days. Like you're just 7, 8 in the morning till 7, 8 at night, right? Like they're long, man.
We had a run test and workouts and skates. It was a tough one, but I felt really good in it. And after coming back from that development camp, it was really nice. Really wanted to set my eyes on Columbus and be in there.
Yeah.
So. A couple of years later, I got there, but that first development camp, I think, helped me a lot.
Gave you a good taste, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like your first taste of it, and it's fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I remember a quick story about you, but I've probably told you this before, but I tell a lot of parents and kids this story. But when I first came to London, I was doing like 17 different jobs, just trying to make a living and trying to make ends meet, right? So I used to do a lot of off-ice stuff, and we do track workouts and obviously on-ice stuff.
That.
And we were doing a track workout up at MTS or wherever it was, and there was a couple other OHL guys there, and yourself. You were young at the time. I think you might have just been drafted or right before your draft. And we did a really hard track workout, and everyone kind of scattered to leave. A couple guys were driving, they took off, and then you were waiting for a ride. And I jumped in my vehicle, and I was driving away, and I saw you on the grass kind of laying there, and you're doing crunches. And I pulled up to you, and I was like, "Boone, you got a ride? Like, you need a lift?" You're like, "No, I'm just waiting. My mom's coming to pick me up." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Are you doing some extra stuff?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm just doing some core while I wait." And I don't know if you remember this now, but I remember looking at him like, "Boone, this is one thing that separates you from the rest of the guys. Like all the rest of the guys, they work hard, but they're all gone." And I said, "You're doing extra right now." And I said, "Don't ever stop doing extra, because that's what's going to get you to that next level." And I'm not saying like I had the secret sauce. I'm just saying those are qualities that I see in few pro guys that do those extras and know who they are. Like, you know that you're probably not going to be playing, like Connor McDavid style of hockey, right?
Yeah,
you know what you
sure.
are. You can score. There's no doubt. You can put up points, but you're strong. You're tough. You're good down low. You're good defensively. Like all those things, right? But knowing what you are, and then knowing that you can't take a summer off. You can't take 5 weeks off. You know what I mean? Like what you got to do. It doesn't mean that you have to be in the gym all the time, but you've gotta what you've got to do. And I think from a young age, you kind of got it. And going back to your skating, that was always a knock on you. Even when I first started working with you, some people were like, "I can't skate," and I always thought that your speed was fine. Like, sometimes style maybe does, for a lot of guys, doesn't look pretty or sexy or whatever. But the one thing sometimes with you, I think you almost willed yourself into the NHL at times. Like you're like, "F you, I'm going to play in the NHL." You know what I mean? No matter what it takes. And I think you've improved your skating a ton over the years, and you, like you said, you continue to work on it. And I mean, we were just on the ice today, and you're still doing stuff to try to get better, which is awesome, right? But those things there, I think, is what helps define you and got you to that level. Because you ended up playing in the NHL at a young age, never played in the A, right? I mean, maybe hardly
games.
Yeah, but for the most part, you've been a steady NHLer the whole time, and just got a new contract, which is awesome. So for you set yourself up real well, despite those knocks at the young ages. Right? I'm sure you've heard it. Like he'll never be able to play in the NHL. Can't skate the NHL game, right?
Yeah, no, I've heard that. In the OHL, I guess, and definitely in my draft year to the NHL, that was the knock. And I remember combine interviews and whatnot. And I think one of my things was we always had a skate test, and I'm like, well, if I do really good on the skate test, how are they going to say you're a bad skater, right?
Yeah.
But so I just try to get myself in the best shape I could for those.
Yeah.
So I know it's not what they're talking about, they're talking more speed and whatnot, but in my mind,
true,
it was just like,
it's part of it.
If that's part of it, then I'll finish at the top of the skate test and see what, like, so there was times where, I was like, got to get quicker. And then I just, found, different ways to be effective. And if it's not flying up and down the ice, like another guy, it's doing other things. So I think that's, things you got to do.
Yeah. And I think that's important for a lot of young players, is finding your game. And not only that, embracing your game. For instance, I know when I played, I was more of a checker guy, good PK guy, things like that. But I embraced it. When I started playing pro, I liked that role. And there's a lot of room for that role, right? So for guys, a lot of these young kids all want to be scorers. They all want to snipe. They all want to score goals. They want to be that rushing defenseman. Well, how important are stay-at-home defensemen? Like at your level, it's huge. Hard to find, right?
Exactly.
So you embrace that role. Not to say you can't play outside that box sometimes, but you embrace it and know what you are. And like you said, like maybe I don't have the best wheels, so you know what? I'm gonna have a good stick. I'm gonna be able to pick pucks out anywhere. I'm gonna be able to strip pucks, or I'll be good on draws, or I'll be good on the wall. And learning those other aspects of the game, they're gonna help you have success no matter what the level is.
Yeah, and I think touching on what you said before was, I think the moment you kind of get comfortable or anything in the league or as a player, that's when you start to go down. It's something is as easy as a shot. You can't stop working on it.
Yeah.
I mean, the moment you think, oh, okay, my shot's good enough, don't have to work on it, it's not going to work anymore. So it's just every aspect of the game you try to get better each year. And skating, I still to this day, even until I'm done playing, I'm sure I'm going to be working on my skating. I don't think you can say or you can stop working on it, I guess, because it's so important in today's game and all the other aspects of the game. So you just want to keep pushing yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think those are really good points. Like, don't stop working on even your good aspects. Like you said, you got a bomb for a shot. We'll try to make it quicker.
Yeah.
Try to catch it off the backhand and shoot. All these little things you can add to it, right? Which I think are big pieces for sure. Now, throughout we'll get to the NHL in a second, but throughout your junior, you got a good chance to a little hot in here, right?
Yeah, right out of the shower.
That's right. But you had a chance to play in the World Juniors, and you had 2 stints there, right?
Yeah.
And what was that like being part of that? Again, those elite players from Canada representing Canada. And I know you played the 17s and 18s, and you had a chance to don that jersey and be a part of that whole thing, which is amazing. But in Canada, a lot of times, a lot of young players know the World Juniors. They don't know the Halinka or all those little things, right?
Sure.
So being getting the call to try out the first year, what was that like when they kind of gave you the phone call or knock on the hotel room door and said, "Hey, buddy, you made the team"?
Yeah, that was a wild experience. Growing up, I know it's cliche, but Canadian kid, you watch the World Juniors every year, and all these superstars that are in the NHL now that you watch in the World Juniors. So, as soon as I got invited to the camp, I was like, I got to do everything I possibly can. And I knew I wasn't going to be power play guy. For that year, it was my first year. I knew I wasn't. I knew I was going to make it as, somewhere, third, fourth line. So I knew I was just going to go out in camp and try to, kind of try to hit everyone and make plays and block shots and do all these kind of stuff and win faceoffs. So, it was kind of a bubble player the whole time, and so I knew I had to kind of do that stuff. And I had a roommate at the time, and they still, I don't know if they still do it, but they do the phone call to the room. And so I think the phone rang like 6 a.m. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. What time's my flight? And I answered it, and they asked for him. So I gave the phone to him, and then he hung up. So I'm sitting there, and that's when I'm like, I don't want to tell anyone yet, but so he left. And
so that was his kind of release, right? Okay. Yeah.
So then I'm sitting there, and I obviously can't sleep. I'm
just sitting by the phone, waiting for the call.
Like, what happens now? Like, they would do us both at once, or would they psych me out? I don't know. So then they came and knocked on the door, and I made the team, and it was in Calgary and Edmonton that year. So that was wild. It was quite an experience.
That's awesome.
We got bronze, which is tough. We had a good team. We had a good round robin, and kind of lost to the Russians in the semis.
It's a tough tournament, though. I know we're always expected to win as Canadians. We always have a good roster, good team. There's no doubt. But man, those other countries are really good too, and it's a real hard tournament to win.
It is. It just happens so quick.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a couple exhibition games, and you got 4 round robin games, and boom, you got the semis.
Yeah.
And you can't lose one.
Yeah.
You're in a tough spot.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
in the semis and finals, I think we were down like 5-1 or 6-1 to Russia, and we came back to 6-5 with like 7 minutes left, and we hit a couple posts. And it was tough to swallow because you want to win it.
For sure.
Especially after Canada won those 5 in a row and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we were a couple of years after that, but still, you won a gold medal. And
Totally.
That was a tough one.
And who on that team were one or two guys that really impressed you that you were kind of gravitated to a little bit, just as far as their work ethic and or even their skill set? And was there anybody on that team that stood out to you that was like, man, this guy's legit?
Yeah, we had like I said, we had a ton of guys, but our captain was Jaden Schwartz, and he's in St. Louis now. And there's a little guy, but he was so good. I remember him like. I never heard of him. He played in college, and he got drafted pretty high to St. Louis, and obviously a tremendous player now. But at the time, I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. He works so hard. He's like a little shifty guy. You can't get the puck from him. He's stealing the pucks everywhere. I was really impressed by him. And, we had guys like Mark Scheifele, that were, outstanding players at that time, and you could tell they were going to be really good guys in the NHL. So quite a few guys from that team.
Oh, that's cool. And then the following year, you got a chance to play again. And again, going back to that first year to second year, how different was that camp? Not to say that you're a lock to play, but you've got a good chance of playing again. But how different was the mentality going in that second camp? Just as far as maybe having a bit more swagger, a little more confidence, a little bit, kind of knowing the process a little bit better.
Yeah, it definitely helped going in. I think that was the NHL lockout year, so we had we had all the guys come back from the NHL that would have been there. Nugent Hopkins and Huberdeau and I think Scheifele, Dougie Hamilton, all these guys that I guess probably would have been in the NHL as 19-year-olds. So we had a really good team then, and I remember watching all those guys who had already they hadn't played NHL games. I know Nugent Hopkins did, but a few other guys, and I'm like, wow, like we had McKinnon, Drouin. They were like the kids with the cages on. They were 17 years old, couldn't wear the visor in the tournament yet. So, Yeah, we had a great team, and you know, I got suspended that year.
I remember that for that hit, right?
Yeah. It was exhibition game against Sweden.
That's right.
A little bit of a late hit. Jesper Pedersen, he was coming around the net, so yeah, I got suspended 3 games. So I only played 3 games that tournament.
That's
I
right.
think I played the New Year's Eve game, and then semis, and then bronze medal game again. So
Yeah.
that was kind of a crappy tournament for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember because I had suspended my first year too. So
What was the first year though? What happened the first year?
first year was a spear.
Okay. Yeah.
But that was one game, and I remember going to Russia, and it was like the Hockey Canada kind of joking around, like, we're not going to go have a meeting or whatever with the officials this year. Like, no. And it was like 2 days later we had the exhibition game, and that happened. I felt so bad.
Yeah,
and
it sucks.
yeah. You know, they were, I mean, it's just a tough situation.
Yeah.
And I think it was Christmas morning when I found out that I
Oh,
was
really?
suspended 3 games, and I'm like, wow, like.
Yeah. That's tough, man.
Yeah, sitting in Russia.
Was your family out there?
No. That one was in Ufa, Russia, which
Okay.
is a different place for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like 4 hours of sunlight a day. It was.
Oh,
nuts.
really?
Yeah, it was.
A little gloomy.
Yeah, it was a little gloomy.
And
snow up.
Pack a 3-game suspension on there on
Yeah.
Christmas Day. A little gloomier.
Yeah, no kidding. We didn't leave the hotel.
No. Oh man, that's tough for sure. But I mean, two pretty cool experiences,
Yeah,
obviously,
for
and even
sure.
medaling. You know, even getting those kind of medals, it'll
Yeah.
look good on your bar one day when you're got your
Exactly.
basement all set up with all
We
your
had,
paraphernalia.
We had a ton of guys that obviously play in the NHL now, and
Yeah.
I still talk to from those tournaments.
It's cool,
So
yeah.
you
Making
get to
friends,
meet
yeah,
them
it's
there,
pretty
and-
cool, eh?
And you know, the hockey world's so small that you know, you play with some of those guys that are on the team now, like, you know, Ryan Murray and Scott Harrington, these guys that you
Yeah.
played against, and now they're on your team, and it's just
Yeah.
funny how it works out.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. And then, so you go back to junior for your 3rd year in Oshawa. Obviously a good year. Team does well, and then go into that next year's development, or I guess rookie camp, and then main camp. They probably brought you back to development camp again as well, right?
Yeah. After my 3rd year, yeah.
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 And then what were the exit meetings like after development camp and then going into rookie camp? Were they kind of high on you? Were they, did they put some expectations on you to make that team that year? Kind of, sometimes they'll tell players, hey, there's a couple
Going
spots
into
here.
like after my 3rd year.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the lockout year.
Right.
So it was after that World Juniors is when the NHL started up. So
Right,
there was
okay.
no rookie camp or
That's
nothing
right.
that year, and I got invited to that camp, and it was they had like 25 guys, so there was honestly 2 cuts.
Yeah.
So I was obviously playing in Oshawa, went to the World Juniors, and then went to that camp, and
So
25
basically,
guys.
if I remember correctly, then because that was a half-year lockout, so they
Right.
basically had a quick camp
yeah, it was a week
in
long.
January, and
Yeah.
then okay, that's
and
right.
there was 25, 26 guys, and we had like no fitness testing, nothing. It was just practice for 5 days, maybe one exhibition game, and the season started on Saturday because that was
Wow. Yeah.
the lockout, right?
Yeah.
So I remember going there, and I was like, wow, like this is pretty much the full team.
Yeah.
So I'm like, kind of on the 4th, 5th line, like in these practices and whatnot, and we're scrimmaging, trying to get everyone's legs back into it, blah, blah, blah. And I remember the coach, kind of took a jab at me or whatever in the media, saying I was kind of giving too much respect to the older guys, which I was.
For sure.
I was the youngest guy by far. All these other guys were on the team last year. I'm like the only prospect that got invited to camp, so I didn't want to step on any toes.
Yeah.
So I remember him saying that.
Who'd you have then? Was it?
Todd Richards.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great coach.
Yeah.
And so he said, he's giving too much respect to the older guys. So then I was just, I went out the next day and I was just going.
Turn it on, eh?
Like everyone hated me. Like, and that's when I realized, like, because the next year's camp is when I made the team, but as soon as I took a big lesson from that
Yeah.
camp. Like, don't
Yeah.
worry about who's who
Yeah.
or nothing. Like, just
It's
go.
a job. Yeah. You got to make that team,
So,
right? Yeah.
the next year that really helped me, and I had a great camp the next year. But I got released at the end of that week,
Yeah.
so I didn't get any games that year. But that camp was pretty cool, just because it was the whole team, and
Yeah.
I think me and one other guy got sent home. That was it.
Oh, that's really cool. But again, like a good lesson for you to be like, you never turn it off.
Oh yeah,
Right? Especially when you're trying out or you're trying to make a team or you're trying to make an impression, you got to have it, you got to be ready, you got to be on.
And I play hard, and it's a scrimmage, so it's like I don't know what I want to play hard, but I don't want to hit this guy from behind.
Well, and you were what, 19?
Yeah, and then I'm like,
you got guy in the
corner. Last day I said, F it, like we're going here. So,
yeah. Oh, it's good. And then as a 20-year-old, you could have went back to junior one more year, and then you end up making Columbus.
Right. Yeah. I could have went back for the overage.
Yeah. So now you're 20 years old, playing in the NHL. Who told you that you're going to stay here? So you go through your main camp now, well, rookie camp, I guess, then main camp, and then following main camp. How does that play out, and how many guys they keep, and then how'd you find out?
Yeah, well, before the season, I don't know how many days before the season they they have to have submit your roster or whatever, like 23 guys. So it got submitted, whatever, and I don't think it was like a coach or anyone that told myself that I was, hey, you made it or congratulations. I just, kept coming every day during the camp, and I'm, looking at the whiteboard, see, you're on the line with, so and so, and I'm like, all right, like, just keep going, work hard today.
Don't say anything, just keep showing up, right?
Yeah, keep playing hard, and then it was like 2 days before the first game, and I'm playing on a line with Dubinsky and Gabrick, and I'm like, they're not going to change that tomorrow for the game, so like, I'm in, like, here it is, right?
Yeah.
So no, I didn't have a moment where they kind of
said
congratulations, but the closest thing to that was probably when they told us to get a place.
Okay.
And that was probably 7, 8, 9 games into the season.
Okay.
When they told, I think it was me and Murray and a couple other guys at the time, like, to find a place. That was kind of where it was like, we're hanging around.
I was going to say, talk about just lingering, eh? Like, not quite sure every day you're coming to the rink.
Sure.
Like, when are they going to talk to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be stressful too.
Because we heard, there might be letters or whatever in your locker.
Get pink slipped, right?
Yeah, get a place and all this. So we're just grinding it out in the hotel.
So that letter could have either been like, go home, you're done, or get a place.
Yeah. But he just came up to us and said, get a place, find a place to live.
So now when you found out about these letters potentially coming out, when you got to the rink, did you check your locker right away to see if it was there? Or did you
check it? Oh, yeah, we check it every day.
Yeah, I look over like, hey, Murr, did you get one? No?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
and there was no letters, I don't know if we just heard that from other teams or whatnot, but there was no such thing as letters, so really we were checking nothing.
Yeah. Any good any good pranks pulled on you in your rookie year? Like, do you get any like welcome to the show rookie?
Yeah, we got tornadoed pretty good in the hotel. Me and Murr, because we were roommates for 3 years, but they got a key to our room and did some damage in there.
And where did they put everything? Did they just flip everything around, or they
flipped the beds and all your toiletry stuff kind of taken out.
Yeah,
I remember the worst is they had like toothpaste underneath everywhere that you wouldn't think it is. Like, they had it underneath the phone. So
you go to grab it?
Yeah, obviously we're, got to call the front desk, get a new whatever, grab the phone, toothpaste, like, go to flush the toilet, toothpaste. Like, they got us good. They had us good there. And, we had another one where they had I think it was Doobie. He's pretty good at pranks, but he was right across from us in the hotel, and he had his phone taped up to the little peek hole, so he had it all on film, and he would knock on our door with the leaner, which is a bucket of water. As soon as you open the door, it comes in your room, and he had it all on film where we were coming out and looking both ways down the hall, and couldn't figure it out. And we were like, at one point, I put my head right up to their door because I thought I heard someone in there, but I didn't knock on it or anything because I didn't know whose room. So I was like, and it's all on camera. It was terrible. I got it pretty bad for that.
That's great. That is so good. The vets, though, they've got some wily stuff now. Now, do you pull any of that stuff on any of the young guys?
No, I haven't done that. We've done, leaners and stuff like that a couple times, but no,
It is awesome, though.
Some good stuff.
When you get a bunch of like grown men, basically, on a road trip, how juvenile these grown men can be, right? Like, it's amazing. Like, it's so, it cracks me up every time. Like, you travel with all these guys or you're around and just see, like, everyone's so, like, for the most part, I'm sure game 7, it's not the same, but start of the year, new guys, new kids on the team, and just, let's pull out all our best shit and just get these guys.
Some good pranksters. Probably Scotty Hartnell's probably number one.
Oh, yeah?
He's
just a beauty, eh?
Yeah, he's got some good pranks. He's always doing something.
And he's a wily vet. He's been around for a long time, probably seen a lot. And he played old school hockey too, so he's been around since like kind of the older days, right?
He had some good stories and so.
I'm sure.
He's a character for sure.
Oh, it's cool. We'll wrap up here with a couple. I always kind of ask guys a couple quick questions, and you kind of already answered one of them, but if you had to go back and kind of talk to yourself at, let's say, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, what are a couple things, pieces of advice that you would give that 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kid now to say, you know what, if you want to do this like I'm doing, these are some key things that you need to really focus on, whether it's character or skill stuff or whatever it is. But is there anything pops in your mind where, man, when I look now at every level I got up to, if I had just been a little bit better at this or a little bit, if I had to focus a little bit more on this when I was younger, is there anything that kind of pops in your head as far as just things that kind of...
No, I think hard work is number one for me. It always has. I think, I know a lot of people could say it, but if you actually put in, the time and effort that it takes and the extra effort, everyone's doing, a lot of things nowadays, but you got to be doing something that somebody isn't. And, that you can better yourself or separate yourself that way. I think that's important. I think it flies by. I think you got to enjoy it, embrace every day. Kind of, it's even this summer, like
it's crazy.
Like it felt like I just started working out, kind of thing, and now it's time to go for another season. So just enjoy every day, enjoy getting better every day, and the friendships you make along the way.
Yeah, no, I think it's huge, and we always talk like cheesy, but have fun. It's got to be fun, but. Even seeing the group you guys have this summer, you got a pretty fun group of guys. You guys seem to shoot the shit and have a good time and enjoy skating together, working out together. And, you kind of find that camaraderie and then you enjoy coming to the rink. Some days you get up, I'm sure you're like, man, I don't feel like doing it today. But so-and-so is going to be there. And, I got to meet up with the boys and I got to get it done, And I think what you said about doing something extra, I think is, working hard is one thing. And a lot of times you say that to kids, work hard. Well, what is that, right?
Exactly.
But even like putting in a bit extra time on your stick handling or your shooting at home, doesn't have to cost you any money, but just doing that stuff on your own, I think. And you spent a lot of time doing that stuff, just at home on the barn, playing road hockey, shooting pucks, whatever. I think that kind of stuff is huge, and it does pay dividends down the road. There's no doubt about it,
Yeah, no, for sure.
And what kind of other stuff did kind of keeps you occupied when you're away from the rink? Like, what kind of gets your mind off hockey? What other stuff do you love doing?
I haven't golfed much this summer, but I usually golf in the summers. Yeah. Hang out with the guys. Are we talking in season or?
No, we'll go like off season.
Off season, yeah. Well, I got that place in Port,
which is kind of nice, right? By the water and
I like hanging out there.
Yeah.
Being outside, seeing my buddies from home that I don't get to see during the year that much, and even family that you don't see as much during the season. So, just hanging out. It seems to be busy. You keep busy, and you're always somewhere, and and then before you know it, I think I'm heading back next weekend. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, it goes by quick. But nothing. No video games or nothing that I play.
No, that's good. You dodged that bullet then, because so many guys are into that right now. It's crazy.
It's a big Fortnite thing going on. So
you're saving yourself a lot of hours in the day by not doing that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. A lot of guys are getting sucked into that big time. And then I guess the one last thing. As far as this season, what are your kind of goals for this season? And I know you're a guy who's, the way I see it and the way I see you play, is a very unselfish guy. What I mean by that is, obviously you love getting points and love putting up numbers and things like that, but I see you as a guy that would take 10 less points in a season if you can make a good cup run, or you take 20 less points in a season if you could win the cup and play a different role. You know what I mean? Like, you're the type of guy I think that would do whatever it takes to win, and so for you, when you go into a season like this, and I guess all the way through your career, but do you have a couple goals or a couple things where you're like, and it doesn't have to be that I want to get 10 goals, I want to get 20 goals, I want to get 30 goals, but is there certain things, that do you segment your season in a couple game segments? Do you look at here to Christmas? Do you look at your whole season, or how do you kind of set up, okay, this is what I want out of this season? And it could just be consistency or whatever, but how do you set up your year?
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can kind of look at the playoffs and everything like that. Right now, I think your goals change as the year goes along, but like training camp would be mine right now.
Yeah.
To be honest, is just going in, having a good camp, and being ready for a good start. I don't think the last couple of years my starts haven't been really great, so I think like just personally, I think going in, having a good camp, and feeling good. Leaving home this summer, I'm feeling pretty good right now and confident on the ice. So I want to have a good start, get off to that, and go along with it. So, I think as a team, we want to get back to the playoffs, and we want to, get past our hump. We've had a couple of years here where, we got beat by some good teams, but we have a great group, and I think sometimes you might have to learn how to lose before you learn how to win. And I think Washington, for example, has been through that, and that's something that we want to do is take a lot of lessons from our losses
for sure,
and try to put it towards just being hungrier for next year. And we got a good group, so we want to put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but I think the standard has to raise, personally and collectively that'll raise our standard.
Yeah, and kind of peeling the layers back a little bit on this, but you talked about having a good start for you personally, and I can say firsthand that you've changed a little bit in the off season. Like just as far as you stayed home a little longer this summer, you spent a little bit more time on the ice this summer. So giving yourself a bit of an advantage when you go to camp where you're going to feel like you already got your stride in there. You feel a little bit more comfortable going into camp, right? So even as a guy who's, been a pro for a while now, looking at it and saying, I've had slow starts. I've got to tweak this. I'm going to change a little bit of this and try this out and see how it goes. If it doesn't work, then maybe you come back to the drawing board and try something different. But, being able to adapt and change and seeing that, I got a hole here. I got to fix this hole. And maybe this slow start. So how do I get a better start? Yeah. Right? So I maybe spend more time on the ice. And I think it's something that I always talk to young guys about being a pro. And not that they're pros yet, but just, making sure your stick's taped when you get to the ring, making sure your skates are sharp, and making sure you're ready, And we still have some pros that could still work on that. A couple of guys we skated with this morning still work on that.
No kidding, eh?
But, all those little things. But for you, looking at your season, so this is what I got to fix, I think is a huge thing. And I love the fact that, what you said about segmenting it into small, because sometimes we look at the big picture.
Yeah, it's tough to look at the big picture, honestly.
Things change so quick, right?
It does. Yeah. And that's why you kind of have to go, that's why I'm kind of just focused on training camp. And we'll focus on game one when it comes, but just going into camp and having a good camp and being ready for that game one when it comes.
No, that's awesome, man. Well, listen, buddy, I really appreciate you coming by. It was awesome to chat with you and catch up, and we wish you the best of luck this season, and congrats on the new contract. That's great. And thanks for giving me half of it. I really appreciate it. That's great. All right, buddy, take care.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
All right. Appreciate it.